Picture this. Your credit card statement is on the table, right next to your grocery receipt. It says 23% APR, and the minimum payment is due in a few days. If you make a normal income and you already feel stuck, this is where the popular debt snowball can quietly hurt you. What if the quick win is making your biggest balance grow faster? In the 2026 economy, average credit card APRs are sitting around 23%, and plenty of cards are closer to 27% or 29%. On a 29% card, a $5,000 balance adds about $121 in interest every month. That is before rent, groceries, or a surprise $300 car repair. So the question is not, what feels best today? It is, what stops the damage first? This is Wealth Mentor Pro, where every lesson is a step closer to your freedom. On this channel, we build net worth slowly and safely, especially for people on low or middle income who feel financially trapped. If you are wondering whether the classic debt snowball still makes sense when APRs look like this, stay with me. I am going to show you a hybrid strategy that saves money without killing motivation, and in a few minutes, I will give you the simple 8% rule that settles the order when your debts are competing for attention. Here is the first truth to hold on to. When your APR is over 20%, that is not just a number, it is an emergency. If this helps even a little, you can leave a like, and we'll keep going. I used to think motivation could outrun math. Think of APR as your compass. APR is the yearly interest rate, and it tells you which debt is pulling hardest on your paycheck. Here is a very common situation. You have a $500 store card at 9% APR and a $5,000 credit card at 29% APR. The snowball advice says, pay the $500 first because it feels fast. And yes, paying off a small balance feels like relief. But while you are focusing on that $500 balance, the $5,000 balance is quietly adding around $121 in interest every month. If you are only paying the minimum on the 29% card, a big piece of your payment disappears into interest. It is the one subscription nobody signed up for. This is what a lot of debt videos leave out. They talk about motivation, but they do not show you what the APR column is costing you in real dollars. And in a high-rate world, that cost is not small. Every extra month at 29% steals money that could be building a buffer. A buffer is what keeps a $600 emergency from becoming another balance. Do this today. Write every debt on one page and include two things, the balance and the APR. If you ignore that number, you can work hard and still feel stuck. So here is the question to keep in your mind. How do you keep momentum without paying interest rent forever? Now let's make it even more real with a smaller number. Take a $3,000 card at 23% APR. That balance adds about $57 in interest each month just for existing. If your minimum payment is $90, only about $33 goes toward the balance. The rest is the cost of the rate. And if you live a normal month, you do not have endless extra money to just pay more. Picture a modest budget. You bring home $2,400. Rent is $900. Groceries are $350. Then your phone bill, transportation, and a few basics fill the gaps. That is why strategy matters. When your plan wastes $50 to $120 every month on interest, it turns into stress, not progress. Here is a calm but important truth. Credit card companies do not reward effort. They reward lower balances at lower rates. So yes, paying off a small debt feels good, and that feeling matters. But if your biggest balance is charging 29%, it can grow faster than most people can outrun. You do not need a bigger pep talk, you need the right target. Do this today. Call the lender on your highest rate debt and ask for a lower APR or a hardship plan. Say one sentence and stop talking. I'm paying, but the interest is crushing me. If they drop your rate by just 3 points, that can mean $15 to $30 less interest each month on a few $1,000s. Ignore this step, and the cost is not just money. The cost is months where your payments do not increase your stability. So the next question becomes practical. How do you escape 20% plus rates instead of fighting them for years? Now we talk about exits. If you can move a balance from 27% down to 12%, you change what your payment can actually accomplish. On $4,000, That kind of drop can save hundreds of dollars over a year. And that money is not just extra. That money becomes your emergency fund. It becomes the difference between handling a problem and putting it on plastic. Two tools matter here: credit unions and balance transfers. Credit unions often offer lower card rates than big banks, and you can start your research by looking up rates and institutions at NCUA.gov. Balance transfers can also work, especially if you are stuck in the 20% plus zone, but you have to read the details. Watch the fee, usually 3% to 5%, and do not keep using the old card while you are transferring a balance. Do this today. Spend 15 minutes comparing one credit union rate and one balance transfer offer. You are not shopping for perfection. You are shopping for breathing room. Lowering the rate buys time and progress. Staying at 29% keeps you stuck. So here is the question that decides your next payment. Which balance deserves your next extra $25? But here's what almost no one tells you. In a 23% world, the order matters more than the motivation speech. Debt payoff is not only about willpower, it is also about protecting your future net worth. Net worth is what you own minus what you owe. When interest eats your cash, it delays ownership, savings, and any investing later. And when you do invest, the safest mindset is boring on purpose, diversified, low cost, long horizon, no guarantees. This is education, not personal financial advice. Quick question for the comments. What is the highest APR you are dealing with right now? Just the number: 18, 24, 29. And what keeps you moving more? Quick wins or saving the most money? Now here is the hybrid method with 3 simple switches. Switch 1. Any debt over 20% APR gets attacked first, even if it is not the smallest balance. This is the avalanche method, which means you pay the highest interest rate first. The benefit is simple. You stop the fastest growth. Example: on a $5,000 balance at 29%, every month you delay costs about $121 in interest. So you pay minimums on everything else, and you put every extra dollar toward that over 20% debt. If all you have is $25, that still counts. Set that extra payment to happen the day after payday, so it happens before life spends it for you. And keep looking for exits while you do it. A credit union option, a rate reduction, or a balance transfer that still saves more than the fee. If you treat a 29% balance like a normal debt, it will act like a leak in your finances. Switch 2. Any debt under 10% APR can be paid smallest balance first to build momentum. That is the snowball method, which means you clear the smallest balance first. The benefit is consistency, and consistency beats intensity. Example: a $650 medical bill at 6% and a $2,200 loan at 7%. Once the high-interest cards are controlled, clearing the $650 can free up around $60 a month. Then you roll that $60 into the next debt. Your progress speeds up, not because you suddenly became a different person, but because your system got stronger. Write the target balance down and cross it down weekly. Small wins are not childish, they are fuel. Switch 3. The 8% rule. If the interest rate difference between two debts is more than 8%, choose the higher interest rate debt first. The benefit is that it ends the debate when you feel torn. Example: $900 at 10% versus $1,200 at 19% is a 9-point gap. So you hit 19% first. But 14% versus 18% is only a 4-point gap. So you can choose the smaller balance for momentum without losing much to interest. This rule keeps your motivation alive while protecting your money. It also stops you from changing the plan every week when your emotions change. One more detail that matters in real life. If you use a 0% balance transfer, set a reminder for the promo end date the same day you transfer. If it ends in 12 months, aim to finish in 10. And if you catch yourself thinking, "I'll just use the old card once," pause. That sentence usually comes with a sequel, and it is rarely cheaper. Now let's come back to that opening image. The statement on the table, the 23% APR line at the top. In this rate environment, the old smallest first rule can backfire when high-interest debt is in the mix. The debt snowball is not evil. It is just incomplete. You can still use it, but only after you stop the fastest damage. Here is a simple 1-minute ritual to make this stick. Once a week, do an APR audit. Circle anything over 20% and send one extra payment, even if it is small. Once a month, do a net worth check in your Notes app. Watching what you owe shrink shows you the space you are creating. Space for a buffer, space for fewer emergencies, and space eventually to start investing in a calm, realistic way. This is how you stop losing money and start building assets. This is also how you create room for investing later, without pretending life will be perfect. Wealth building is slow, uneven, and personal. No overnight transformations. But every percent of APR you cut and every high-rate balance you crush is a step towards stability. Math is your tool, not your enemy. This is Wealth Mentor Pro. If you enjoyed this, tap like, subscribe for more calm money help, and watch the suggested video next while the plan is still fresh in your mind.